I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing good as well. I mean, what better way to have an epic evening with an epic guest, right?
That's very kind of you. It's really nice to meet you.
Same here. Same here. Also, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Before we start, I have to give you a proper badass welcome. So if you have seen some more episodes, you know exactly what I'm about to do. If not, let me show you.
I did see this last night. Hi, Dan. My friend Dan is here.
So, starting with the whole interview now, tell me how your acting career started.
How did it start? I guess I went to college for acting. I always acted as a kid and in high school, played around with it. And then I went to study music theater. I went to a conservatory and I studied for 4 years. And I moved to New York after that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's epic. Wow. And so after moving to New York City, you quickly found work off Broadway before joining the national tour of Seussical. You played such notable roles as Eliza Doolittle at the Sierra Repertory Theater. Tell me about that experience.
So I got my equity card through Seussical. I traveled the country for 7 months, and then I somehow ended up in LA. I signed with an agent out there, and I was doing more TV stuff. And it was years between the two, but before I booked an equity job again, because I was kind of new to the union, and sometimes that happens. I know it's happened for a lot of my friends too. So I was so excited to do My Fair Lady. I'd only gotten to do workshops here and there of new musicals. And so that was really, I think to this day, probably my favorite musical role I ever got to play. I mean, women, especially in that time, were just not written the way that show was written. I mean, she's really the star of the show, and she goes through such a transformation. I had to hone in on 2 different dialects and 2 different ways of carrying myself, and it's just such a beautiful show, and it was such a great challenge. So it's something that a memory that I hold really dear to my heart. That's
amazing. And then you got the role of Norma Jean in Marilyn, the new musical at the Paris in Las Vegas. That's badass, by the way. But tell me also about that performance, but also about your character as well.
So that was a brand new musical, so that was exciting to get to do something brand new. And because it was new, it was always changing. So up until the night that we opened, things were just constantly changing. So it was always an adventure. But it was so cool to play to a house that big. It was really cool to be on the Strip. Our show was only open for about a month. We were hoping that it would be open a lot longer, but it was really memorable. I did not like Vegas at all. As a person, it was not my place. Do you like Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to visit, but for living, it wasn't really my place.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It was so hot. It was July. I mean, I was just dying. But playing Norma Jean, I played the younger version of Marilyn. And so there was another actress playing Marilyn Monroe, Ruby Lewis, who's a Vegas and Broadway star in her own right. And so that was really cool to get to play 2 sides of the same coin. And we actually had an intimate scene at the end, right before Marilyn dies, where we got to be together and be cohesive and speak to each other. And so that was really cool. I've always been so fascinated by Marilyn Monroe. I feel like most people are. It's a really tragic and crazy and compelling life story.
Totally I agree on that. So cool. And tell me how you usually prepare before a musical. I mean, do you have a specific technique or a let's say ritual? What sets you in this mood to perform?
Sorry, people are joining. I want to say hi. I always take the material to a voice teacher or a coach and work on that, because that is, I think in a musical, the biggest thing that you want to get under your belt, you want to figure out how you want to attack if the vocal technique, where the song goes. If you're going to be dancing, for Marilyn, I started working out more, because I was going to be singing and dancing at the same time, which is so hard for me. It's so, there are some people that can just do it, but for me, I was huffing and puffing, so I had to go to work on the treadmill and like get that up. And then character wise, if it's somebody that has already lived, I do research, of course, on them. And then I spend time with the script and kind of go through and look for clues and ask myself questions in the margins, and then try to fill in any holes, like anything that backstory wise that I feel like I need to know for the character. I like try to imagine it so that I know where they're coming from, so that because if I don't do that, it took me a while to realize that if I don't do that, that I'm not coming from a place of like specificity, and then it's just a little more general. So I try to like really imagine that person's world as much as I possibly can. And the script is like the Bible, basically, you know, just gives you everything you need to know.
Absolutely. And like, what are some of the things that you like the most about musicals?
I think the thing that I love the most about musicals is I think that it's certainly not realistic, right? Nobody gets into a fight with their spouse and breaks into a song, you know?
Yeah, that was cool, but yeah.
It would be cool, yeah. But there's something about music that enables you to express emotion in such a different way. And because of that, I feel like the audience can also feel it so differently. I mean, it depends on the musical, right? If it's like Bridges or something very like heart-wrenching, it just allows you to go to a different place. Or if it's something happy, the music infuses that feeling for the audience, and the audience is really the third character and last character, you know? Yeah. They give you the energy, and so I love that. But I just think that even though sometimes in college when we were studying, I had a hard time being like, but it's so weird that I just like burst out into song. There's something that I also love about it, because it's not realistic. So you're allowed to just like go to a different level and be elevated and be free. And yeah, I guess that's what I love about it.
Totally. But you know what? You got me thinking, like, what will happen if you got into an argument and then you start singing?
In real life?
Yeah.
Well, my husband would first of all just be like, I'm not listening to you.
But you know what? I think that would be kind of a cool thing to diffuse the situation.
It would be. I've played a part, or I did a performance of a part where a woman just like tells her husband everything she's been thinking for years, and it's so beautiful. But I think the reason I love it so much is because and film too is sometimes you're able to say the things that in life you don't have the ability to like put together the way you want to say it, you know?
Yeah, totally. And I think that's basically how, when music can help you out, you know, when you can express because it happens, right? That maybe for some people it's difficult for them to express like their emotions or something like that in a better way, and then maybe music can come through to basically help you out, you know? But
that's a really great way of saying it. Exactly. When like you can't, they said in college, which my friend Steph just joined, we went to college together. They say when you can't speak anymore, you sing. Like when the words it's not enough, when whatever you're feeling is like beyond words, that's when you break into the song, and it makes sense.
Yeah, totally. But you know what? Next time I'm into an argument, it doesn't matter, I'm gonna start singing.
And you better let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
Does it get you what you want? Because that's what we all want in a fight, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I'm super sure that maybe it would be kind of a cool way to diffuse the situation, you know, because if you start singing, the other person is going to think you're crazy. And then, like, no matter what the other person tells you, if you continue singing, at some point it's going to be like, I'm done. And you won.
It's a great way to win. Yeah, because everybody wants to win. My friend Sal.
Lagging a little bit. We got some lag. Let's wait. Oh, yeah. We got some technical problems here. Let me solve them. Give me 1 second, guys. Right. There you go.
Hi. I'm so sorry. I don't know if that was my phone or not.
Well, we're back. We're good.
We're back. I'm so sorry about that.
Nah, it's fine. Don't worry. It happens. It happens. I mean, technology, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it happens.
Like we've gotten so far, but still.
Yeah. So we have this type of issues here and there. Yeah. And but yeah, definitely, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try that. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, definitely. Next time I'm in an argument, I'm gonna definitely start singing. Definitely gonna.
Let me know how it goes. I would love to try it. You know, I probably should. It would probably make my husband is very even keeled. He doesn't experience emotions like on either end of the spectrum.
Okay.
So I imagine he would just kind of shake his head and leave the room. But
yeah. But for example, what if you have an argument? I don't know, with a phone bill, or if you're in a restaurant, or you're like, I think it would be also kind of a cool experiment for acting as well. You know, if you just suddenly start singing in public and start to perform.
It could also be a really funny comedy sketch. To just like, if someone just behaves the way that they think you behave in like a musical movie, they think that's just life. And somebody's hidden away with a camera, that would be pretty funny.
Yeah, and
I'd love to do that actually.
If you can make it with Disney songs.
That's a great, part of your world. Just work it in. Be pretty funny.
Yeah, I swear to God that if at some point I see a YouTube video of somebody doing that, I'm gonna be like, that was my idea. But I will need to hurry then.
If I ever do it, I'll credit you.
Yeah. I definitely gonna try that. I think it's like a cool way to diffuse the situation and not to, especially for the loved ones, of course, and not to get into this awkwardness situation. You know, I think it would be kind of cool to kind of ease things up and be like, I'm cool. I'm just gonna sing now, so you better sit and enjoy the show. You know?
You sit there and you listen to me. That is what I love so much about musicals, is that the character who needs to speak gets, I mean, not always, of course, that can be the conflict, but more often than not, there's a point that you've waited for where they get to speak their piece. I mean, same thing in movies. And I think it's what we all really want to be able to do. And I think that's why we love to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and I think it is also really cool, right? That whenever the audience starts singing along.
Yes, if they know the material. Yeah, I sing in retirement homes a lot, and I always try to get them to sing with me because there's something really special about people joining in music together. You know?
Yeah, that's so awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And like in general, tell me like how you usually prepare a character. I mean, I understand, of course, that depending on the role, right? But like, what are some of the techniques that you kind of always do to set the character ready, or like, like how long it usually takes you to be in the mind for the character?
I feel like I'm very much a rehearsal person, which sometimes with film you don't get much rehearsal, but after like the first day or so, you kind of get into it. I really feel like I'm a person that needs the rest of the cast, and the director, and that to kind of like start feeling like her. But I would say my at-home work starts with lots of memorization, because I don't want to be stressing about that. And I don't memorize 100%. I probably do it around 80%, because I want to discover so much in the moment with the other characters, and I want to be a little surprised by what they say and stuff. But if I take out that part of it, then it allows me so much more time and space to live in the character instead of trying to remember the lines. So that's a really big part of it for me. The reading up, the memorization, and then the time spent kind of imagining the backstory and the different relationships and figuring out what this person wants. Sometimes it's really obvious, you know, but the subtext of what drives this person, and human nature is so interesting to me, because we all have this in everyday life. And then when you get to break down a character, you get to like really sit down and dissect a person the way that, you know, I could dissect you, but like I won't get to probably, you know, because I'm not going to sit down with a script on your life. But it's a really cool opportunity to try to get inside someone's head. I think I went on a tangent.
Absolutely. Now it is really interesting, and also the fact, I mean, of course, that you get the chance to play somebody totally different than you, because I think you get the chance also to learn new things from you, and at the same time you get the chance to know more about you by playing somebody else. You know.
Absolutely. I sometimes I will go out for roles and I'm just like, this is so not right for me. Like, I do feel like anything that you're going to be able to be good at playing, there's got to be a part of you in there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You have to add, or some people even think about it the other way around, that it's you with a little bit of the character. And some of those people are like the best actors ever because they're being so honest. They can relate so much, you know? But yeah, you can also learn about yourself. And I guess growing up, I couldn't decide what I wanted to be. And I was like, I loved acting, and I was like, I would get to experience so many different lives and so many different vocations. And yeah, exactly. You learn so much about yourself.
You learn so much, yeah. And what do you think it's an important aspect for character creation?
And what was that?
Yeah. What do you think it's an important aspect for character creation?
I think that it's really important because in order to create like a three-dimensional person, you have to bring so much of what you personally know to it. Otherwise, it's like creating a robot, creating an outside, right? This person's gestures, the way this person stands, the way this person talks. But if you're not focused on what you're feeling as that person, it's sort of two-dimensional, I think. You have to really be present, which I feel like in today's technologically proficient era, it's harder and harder to be present because we're constantly bombarded with alerts and notifications and shit like that like drives me crazy. And so I can like feel my attention span getting shorter and shorter as we get older. Yeah. But I think it's all about like being super, super present, and the more present you can be and the less like thinking about how you look or how you sound or whatever, the more truthful you can be. And I think that's when I relate the most to watching other actors. I'm like, that person is being so truthful. Their ego is gone. This is not about them. This is about the story. And I really respect people and artists like that. Yeah.
Totally. And you know what? I mean, you can tell, right? That whenever they like in this film show, whatever, like whenever you feel like this connection with a character, you know, and you really feel yourself involved into this world they created, you know, and you feel kind of you're a part of it as well. And you get to this chance that like no matter like what part of the like whenever like the character you care, it's in like in a fight or something, you're like, please don't die, you know, like stuff like that. And it's so interesting how like a character gets you to this mood or gets you to this connection into like you really care about that character, you know. It's so interesting that.
Yeah, it really is. Can I answer this question somebody asked?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you rejected any roles or acts? Not too many. To keep it short, I sometimes will not go to a callback if I'm like, I don't feel like this is the right thing for me. Or if a show has like a lot of, I've turned down auditions, I should say. If there's something in it that I'm like, this doesn't line up for me. If there's like a ton of nudity, if the character's very like blasé and there's nothing much there, she's just there for show, I just won't go to the audition. Because I'm like, why waste their time? Why waste my time? So I definitely turned down auditions, but not many like roles or anything like that.
There you go. And what would you say it's important for storytelling?
Important for storytelling, being truthful, feeling connected to your cast, and killing your ego, which is the hardest thing to do sometimes, but just like remembering that it's not about you and what a review will say or what somebody else will think. I had actually at final dress rehearsal for My Fair Lady, my director was like, great, now stop trying to be good. Because he could tell I was trying to be, I wanted so badly to do a good job. Yeah. And that was like the best advice ever. Just stop trying to be good. Just do the story, you know? So yeah, to just not try to be good and just forget your ego.
Love it. So in 2013, you were in Deadly Sins. Tell me, like, was that like one of your first projects? And like, what are some of the things that you learned from those first moments?
That was my very first TV or film job. So I was over the moon. I was so excited. Met one of my good friends on that set. He played my rapist. We ended up being really good friends. What I learned on that set was really how grueling filming can be, because we filmed in Jersey. So I was living in Manhattan at the time, and they bussed us over to Jersey, some like random part of it, and it was freezing rain. And we shot outside, and thankfully I could drive a stick shift. So I was like driving the stick shift car in the rain and getting, quote unquote, beaten up. And I just remember being frozen, and we got home so late to the city. But I was so young, and I was just so excited to be there. But I definitely realized, like, oh, that, and also that if you're not part of the production side, you don't get to choose the edits that they choose. So they might not use your favorite take. So I learned that really quickly too. I was like, I did something so much better than this, or whatever,
Yeah, totally.
It was nice. It was good.
And then you were in Wild Horses, The Third Wheel, The Callback, the God Question, The Bold Guy, Speed, Damon and Holly, the Ouija Exorcism, West Side Story, Ballad Shoes, Palermo, Block. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, it's just never end, which is really cool and badass and awesome. But tell me, like, how you usually get ready before going on set, and like, what are some of the things that you like the most about acting?
Getting ready on set, I guess, like, I do like the vain things. I mean, like, whiten my teeth, or like, work out, eat well. Now that I'm in my 30s, I have like a much more extensive skin regimen that I like, depuffing and a mask and that stuff before set, because theater, you can kind of like just be yourself. But if you're on set, like now with the way that they film in high def, you just see everything. So I kind of like prepare myself that way, try to eat good, drink a lot of water, just so I feel good too. And then, whatever the character, like Palermo, for instance, Estelle was an Italian girl from the Bronx. So I think I watched like a Scorsese movie, and I brushed up my accent, even though it comes kind of easily to me because my dad's family kind of just talks like that anyway. So,
okay.
And then once I got there, like for that in particular, they did tons of like self-tanner on me. I like fake boobs. I mean, there was like blood at that point. Like, you can't prepare for that stuff. So all I can do is know my lines and make sure I'm healthy and feeling confident.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That is the best. That's the best thing. And then in 2018, you were nominated for Best Comedic Actress by LA Web Fest for your portrayal of Brie Benson in Transplant. Now, tell me about that experience.
That was really cool because my friends and I actually wrote and produced Transplants. So it's our own web series that we did 2 full seasons of. And I feel like it was easy for us to shine more because we were writing for our sense of humor. We were writing what made us laugh, and my best friend Trip and I and the director Sarah just have really good chemistry as friends, and I feel like it came across on screen. So that was really cool, and it was a really nice honor. We still write Transplants. Like, we're writing like a pilot for television that we want to shop because we just don't want to ever stop working together, I guess.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, one of the questions here on the comments is, which has been your most memorable act ever?
Most memorable? I mean, probably Eliza Doolittle. I honestly can't imagine getting a better role than her. I don't know if anybody here has seen the film with Audrey Hepburn. It's just a classic, and women are being written well more often now, but it's still hard to find those roles that you really get to sink your teeth into, and she was just one of them for me. I was 28, and I just remember feeling like, I don't know if it gets better than this. Like, we were in the mountains of California in this cute little town, and people were so sweet, and I think that's probably the most memorable. I think that's the role that turned me into a woman. I remember I came home, and I had like my first frown lines, because like Eliza, like in the beginning, is so like, angsty, and she's always frowning. And I was like, this is a great way to get my frown lines. Hi, Sophia.
That is so cool. And what advice could you give to those who recently started their acting career?
Oh, geez. Well, somebody did say to me when I started out, say yes to everything, which I took very literally. As you can see by IMDb, there's a point for that where that needs to change because you can't say yes to everything. But in the beginning, you know, focus on putting yourself out there as much as you can, and relationships. Like,
Sure.
if somebody asks you to do a reading of something, do it. Don't think like, what's this gonna look like on my resume, or this doesn't pay anything. Like I did, like Wild Horses, Speed Damon and Holly. I think those barely paid anything. They were like my first roles, you know. Third Wheel, I don't think that paid anything at all. But I needed footage, and then once I got the footage, I got an agent. So in the beginning, that's the best time, honestly. That's when you have the most energy and the dream is the most alive. And so enjoy it, and say yes as much as you can if it feels right and it feels good, and just keep putting yourself out there. Social media is your friend. If you can keep a good mentality around it, it's a great way to put yourself out there. Create your own stuff.
There you go. There you go. There you go. And if you could describe your career at the moment on a movie, a TV show, or even a book, why not? What would be the title of it?
Making it happen.
Make it happen. Okay.
Because
would it be a movie, TV show, or book?
I was thinking the book, but it could also be a TV show for sure. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I still do a lot of what I just said, which is, you know, putting myself out there. I make the content. I literally reach out to people I've worked with and just say, hey, haven't worked with you in a while. Really like to work with you. And yeah, it's been, stuff has been coming up again since the pandemic. It was so dead, you know? And so I'm realizing like how much comes from you stepping in and your power and being like, hey, I'm here and I want to do something with you. It goes a long way. Because really, Hollywood's not knocking down my door. I'm like one of a million girls out here, you know?
Yeah, but you know what? You should definitely make that happen into a book. And then who knows? I mean, since Netflix is basically doing shows about everything, maybe you can get through to them and get your own show too.
Look at this. I love this. Persistence overcomes resistance. I love that so much. Somebody just wrote that. I think that's a great title.
There you go. Yeah. Maybe that, you know what? Maybe that could be like the sequel book.
The sequel, yes. When I'm like older with much more knowledge and wisdom.
There you go. There you go. I mean, we're killing it here. We're killing it here with cool ideas. I mean.
Yeah. I'd love to write a book at some point. I don't know what about.
Yeah, I mean, definitely do it. And yeah, definitely do it. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Maybe someday.
If you could describe your career this time, but on a drink, which one would you pick?
Old-fashioned. I would say an old-fashioned because I'm an old-fashioned kind of gal. I love vintage movies. I love the old movie stars, and I think that there's like a very old-fashioned part of my personality. I'm not like I don't go partying a lot. I'm kind of like an old lady inside. I love like tea and like books and hanging out with good friends and stuff like that. But I think I have a very old-fashioned approach to this career, which is not like flirty or showing my body or anything like that, which if that's your thing, that's your thing. But I know those aren't the parts I'm going to go out for, and that's not who I am. So I would say I'm old-fashioned.
I like that. I like that. It's good. You know, the one that I hear the most is Long Island tea.
Oh, why is that?
Because so they would
from
say,
there?
No. I mean, normally they would say Long Island tea, beer. Yesterday I got one like which was water, and I was like, that's interesting.
Water?
Water. Yeah.
I love
margarita.
Water.
Because with the margarita was that, so it's really cool. You love it. It's fresh, you know, and you always want another one. And then you want another one and another one until you just can't handle it anymore.
That is
true. I was
true.
like, interesting.
That's really interesting. That's a great question as an interviewer for you to ask people, because it says a lot about their self-perception.
Yeah, and with the Long Island, so they would say that because it's sweet, it's cool, and at the same time, it hits.
It's strong. That's what I was gonna say.
Strong.
It's strong. Yeah.
But when you realize you are drunk, but like the
I
point
also
of it,
think old fashions are cozy. There's something cozy about an old fashioned and
yeah,
classic.
totally.
Maybe it's the drink I aspire to be.
Yeah.
I'm probably
like
a seltzer.
Yeah, like whenever they would say like something old fashioned, it instantly goes cozy, like a fireplace,
Yes.
something like that. You know what I mean?
It just is so good. It goes down so smooth, and it's just like I love like having the ice in the glass, the whole experience of the old fashioned. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, you need to really get it. Yeah, but yeah, it is so interesting that question, or the one that about describing the career of movie, TV show, or book. I mean, there are some titles that are hilarious, and some of them that really get me thinking. Yeah, and some of them they're like they will remain quiet and say, I don't know. And I would say, let's leave it as I don't know, because your career is a mystery then. And they're like, fair enough. So it's but as you mentioned, it does tells you more about the person itself. You know what I mean? So that's really cool.
Yeah. What would you say is one of what's an answer that really sticks out to you about the movie or book one? Is there one?
Yeah, there is one. Let me think.
Hi, Mimi.
For the movie, I don't remember the title well, but I do remember that the story, it was very deep. That they were talking about like all the hard work and all the like all the things that normally we the audience don't see, because I mean normally when we see a movie or TV show, we see the actors performing and that's it, and we don't know anything about them, like how was what's behind it. So sometimes they would come to these very deep titles, that they really get you thinking, into this point like that every dream it's hard work. I mean, maybe that, but like no matter what, you better keep pushing it, keep doing what you do, because at some point you're gonna see you're gonna see all those moments of stress getting paid in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Yeah, I try not to focus on the failures. You can't get anywhere without them. I mean, some days I definitely focus on it, but I try not to, and focus on like if you keep going, you're gonna get something. It's just the law. It's like not physics, but like life.
Yeah,
you'll get something.
And actually, that is like my next question here. So, like, what motivates you? I mean, we all have those days, right? In which we feel terrible with ourselves, in which we are asking ourselves if we should continue pursuing this career or move to something more stable, something more normal, let's say. But so I wonder, like, what makes you to be out of this toxic bubble, let's say, to get out of it and just to continue pursuing what you love the most?
I think that I am a little addicted to the excitement of it. Like it's a little bit like a Russian roulette in the way of like an audition. Even if it's so scary, you get that like adrenaline rush, and then if you get the job, it's like the best feeling in the world. And like right now, friends of mine have a movie that we're going to be shooting in January, and today, for the first time in so long, I had that really excited feeling, like, oh, I'm so excited to be a part of this special thing. And I just don't think I could find another job that I felt that at. I think I could certainly work at my family's bakery and feel happy contributing or something like that, but I don't think it would fulfill that like crazy part of me that just wants to kind of do something beyond myself and tell stories that either make people think or make them feel seen or make them laugh.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. You know what? The other day, I was watching this video and they were saying something that basically hit me. That they were saying that graveyards are the kind of the richest place on earth, because like on the graveyards, a lot of movies didn't come out, a lot of scripts didn't come out, a lot of book ideas, business ideas, music, lyrics, arts, like arts in general, they never saw the light, so they just stay there. And that basically hit me, because I was like, that's interesting. Like how many people we all know that they wanted to do something, but they were kind of unsure. I mean, and that's understandable because I mean
Yeah.
we live in this world in which they teach us, and that's one of the things that I do hate, that they would teach us to search for the stable thing. But at the same time, what's a stable thing? I mean, you can find a stable job, sure, but then you're gonna be in that place for 40, 50 years working, and then you're gonna be old one day, and then what? You know, what is the message you are going to pass to the next generation? You know, that is one of the things that hits me every day. Like if you're alive today, make sure that you are doing the best of it. You know, not take it as granted, because you never know. And I think that when you start taking things granted, then life itself starts to taste a little bit different. You know, you don't taste that sweetness of being alive one day and being able to do something, you know, to do something different, you know.
I couldn't agree with that more. I really agree on every point. And I think if you have an idea, like how you had this idea for this podcast and interviewing, there's a reason why you have that idea. And I honestly don't even think it comes from just us. Sometimes I feel like it's the universe being like, this is like your little nugget of follow me, follow your ideas, you know. They're there for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ideas come out of nowhere, and for me to create this podcast was basically because of the whole of this moment in which I was saying that so I work in this place, and then they basically don't want me anymore, and then they would put me on the street, and then what's the point of it, you know? I mean, I do think that we come to this world for something, but it's up to us to discover what is that something, you know?
I agree.
I mean, it's not gonna be like given, like, here it is, it's yours. I mean, you have to work to it, and in order to work for it, you need to discover new things. So yeah,
absolutely, I couldn't agree more.
Totally.
I think those jobs sometimes, like, I catered for years and years, and I needed that money in order to be here to pursue my work. But I mean, there were days where I was just like, this is such a waste. Like, this is such a waste of my energy. But of course it wasn't. I needed the money, but I do think that, like, we're all meant for more. Those are temporary jobs to get you to another stepping stone.
Yeah, exactly. Because I do hate that whenever you will meet someone and then they wanted to be an actor, or they wanted to be a singer or painter, photographer, like whatever, and they just are unhappy with their lives, you know, and they have kind of being in this toxic bubble, you know, that they just can't get away. Yeah, like they can't get away from that, and it's such a waste, because we have seen like so many examples of people that with less they create epic things, you know.
Yeah,
totally.
Definitely, they use what they have.
Totally. It is definitely. I would encourage people to stop listening those minions in your head telling you you're not worthy, and do something that you love the most. Definitely.
We all have those. I think most people have those.
Those
bad thoughts, like you're not worthy, and it'll be stupid, it'll be bad. It's just a natural human fear of rejection.
Totally. And like, my last question to you, Brittney, is what can we expect from you in the future?
Well, I'm so excited for, it's funny that you asked this right now. So my good friends from college have a production company, and we shot a proof of concept called Dance Dads.
Okay.
In 2019. It's a ridiculous mockumentary. It's so friggin' funny. And we're shooting the full feature in Texas early this year in January. But, so if anybody wants to watch the proof of concept, they're streaming it Friday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Coast time. The link is in my bio. And the tickets are like $15, and those proceeds go to the set. But I'm just so excited to be reunited with my friends, and there's some awesome people attached. I love comedy. It's my favorite. So I'm really excited for that. And beyond that, I think I'm shooting a short film soon called Uncut. It's like a political piece. And I'm attached for a new musical about Susan B. Anthony, where I get to play her. And that will be happening up near, it'll be in the Finger Lakes in New York in July. And that's pretty much it for right now, I think.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see more of your awesome work. And I mean, I'm super sure that at some point we're gonna see you everywhere. You know,
That's
we're gonna
very
see you basically in every show, every movie, every franchise. We will see you everywhere. And it's amazing that you have so many cool things coming up soon.
I'm excited. It's really exciting to have anything to look forward to after a long time of like,
Totally.
when are we ever going to get to create again? So thank you for having me on. And I look forward to more of your episodes. I tuned in last night and they're really fun. And I'm really happy you're doing this.
Yep, thank you so much. Also, thank you so much for being here and to make this happen. I mean, as I've said in some of my episodes before, I mean, for me, actors are basically kind of the superheroes of this thing that we call life, because you basically guys go through hell. You know, you go through so many rejections, through so many shitty jobs, through so many awkward situations and very awkward moments, especially if you're a female actress, and but no matter what, how stressful the moment might be or how stressful you might feel because of a personal thing, when it's time to perform, you always give 100%. You know, you get into this, you forget about your problems and deliver this amazing performance for us, the audience, and that takes like a lot of recognition. You know, that takes like a lot of recognition and a lot of respect, because I can barely remember my phone number sometimes, you know what I mean? So but the fact that you guys bring us entertainment, and I think especially during this whole pandemic craziness, entertainment itself, movie, TV show, book, all of that
saved me. Yeah,
they basically saved
everyone else's work saved me. Yeah.
You know, so
very kind of you to say. Thank you.
Yeah, and also I want to thank those who are watching. Also, if you're watching this later on YouTube or listening to this later on Spotify and Apple Music, make sure that you follow Brittney on all over social media. Normally, what I would say is for you to put pause and leave a like, subscribe, follow. If it is your birthday, happy birthday. If it's a good day for you, keep having it. If you have been watching my episodes on YouTube or Spotify or even here, thank you so much. And then go follow Brittney. Leave a million likes. I mean, let the world know about this talented actress here. I mean, let's make sure everybody knows this talented actress, and then come back. And again, Brittney, thank you so much. Before I send you off, I need to send you off properly in an epic way.
Oh. It's been so long. Thank you so much.
And keep rocking, keep being amazing, and I'll see you in the next one.
See you on the next one. Bye, Dan.
Bye.